Okay, so welcome back. This is going to be a pretty fast one. So we're not going to do a lot of things here, but we'll do something fairly cool and interesting, I would say, in any case. Once again, you will be able to find the code either under the lectures or somewhere else. You will be given instructions. In any case, just go back to the instructions in the introduction, and there I will state where you can actually find the code. Anyway, so once again, we are in our app component.ts. So we're still doing some basic things, but fairly soon we will actually start building our application. Before we go there, I wish to go over these things. So we have effectively trimmed down our app.component.ts, and create user has remained the same, hide email has remained the same, interface user, pretty much everything is the same, except the basic one is the same, but we have implemented this method here. It says private toggle, and it says this.hide email equals negate email, hide email. So whatever the current version of whatever the current value of hide email is, negate it. So if it's true, put it to false. If it's false, put it to true. So we're just negating it. Whatever it is, we're negating it. That's what the exclamation mark here is for. Now that's all we need to do here. Just create this one small simple method, and then we can go back to our HTML code, which has also been trimmed down to a great extent as opposed to the previous versions. So we still have this part here. We are going to leave that as it is. That has been explained previously, but down below we have button. And we will add a button and we will perform event binding here. We will bind the click event to toggle method. So we have the toggle method in the app component.ts, which basically just sets the status of hide email. So if hide email is true, once this method is called, it will become false, or if it's false, it will become true once this method is called. So this is just the button, and we have an event, which is click, and we're binding it to this method here. When the click event occurs, we're going to call that function, but unlike property binding, we will use parentheses here. So as you can see, here you have blocks, and here you have parentheses. So, and here the binding always goes from event to component. So from this event, sorry, not button, but from this event here to the component. So from left to right in our case here. And once we click the button, this is going to be called. But down below we have this is pretty much the same. The two of these are pretty much the same, but this is basically mouse leave. So when we go over this button, and once the mouse leaves the button area, this event will be called, and hence this function, this method, will be called as well. So we can bind any event in the HTML that is in existence in this fashion, and same goes for property binding. If you wish to see the list of all the HTML events, just type in HTML events list and go onto the net, and you will find the listing, I assure you. So let's see how this actually works. Let's see it in action. So just save both files before anything happens and make sure the server is running. So when I click on this, you will see it will hide. And when I click again, it will, okay, so the mouse leave is messing me up a little bit. Okay, so it's hidden now. Let's go over the toggle mouse leave. So we are at the moment looking at what this line does. And whatever this line does will be reflected onto this line, because this property is actually bound to hide email boolean, and since this method actually changes the value of hide email boolean, this will in turn change as well. So whether hide email is true or false, that is what this element will be dependent on. That is whether it will be displayed or not. So if I go over mouse leave and then my mouse actually leaves this area, you will see the function is called, and then this is printed out. This is shown on the screen. If I do that again, it goes away. Same goes for clicking. If I click, it shows. If I click again, it disappears. But okay. Oh my god. Okay, I can't click fast enough because then the toggle mouse happens as well, but let's go ahead and do this and make this disappear just for a second. Okay, okay, so if I click, it shows. If I click again, it disappears. I'm sure that you've seen this on sites a lot of times. And by the way, these are HTML comments. This is how you would create a comment block. So this is all that I wanted to show you here. And before I'm done, I want you to play around with this. I want you to create all sorts of buttons that perform all sorts of actions. Go nuts. Do whatever you can to learn and have fun doing it. But I think this is a pretty cool feature, so I wanted to show it to you, and I wanted to explain event binding through it. So bid you farewell and hope to see you in the follow-up.